When I go through this exercise every quarter and look back at what I said I was optimizing for and what I've accomplished, and now what I'm able to try to switch and optimize for in the future, it's mind-blowing. It's encouraging. It shows you how growing your business, it doesn't always solve every problem so that you sit back and relax and sip margaritas on a beach. No, the indication of a growing business is that you have another problem to solve, another obstacle to overcome, another thing that you can do to make your business even better. About 4 times a year, I sit around a table with 9 other business owners, and we pour over 20 plus documents per business, looking at each other's problems, thinking through hard questions, hard decisions, and really figure out, what are you optimizing for? So I love being a part of this mastermind. And for the record, it's the CEO Mastermind with Paul Goff. This is truly where we are forced to look at what we do in our businesses, why we're doing them, and where do we want to go so that we do not have to play the role of doing all the tactical work, of doing all, in a business owner's case, like a private practice, doing all the treatment, to actually being the CEO, the business owner who can step back, make the big decisions, and let their team execute. So really why I wanted to bring this up is every time we do this, I have to go through this huge document and fill out all this information about my business to share. And literally, it's so people can rip through it and be like, hey, you're missing this, or hey, why aren't you thinking about this? It's so great to have outside eyes on it. But one of the most important questions comes at the end, and it asks, what are you optimizing for? Every time, it seems people have a really hard time answering this question, because the truth is our options are profit, revenue, stability, scale, or removing the business owner from the business. Well, if I'm honest, I read those and I think, can't I have them all? And I'm sure you feel the same way a little bit. You want all of those 5 things in our lives, in our businesses. But the truth is, some of them conflict and not all can happen at the same time. And even further, you really can only focus on doing one at a time in your business, and one really well. Now, that doesn't mean you actually stay and pick one and stick with it the whole year. In fact, usually every quarter, I'm switching up exactly what I'm optimizing for. But that's because your needs change as you solve more problems. So let's go through those 5 things. And I want you to think about today what you are optimizing for in your business. So number 1 is profit. Now, there's a few ways to get more profit in your business, right? You can increase your revenue. You can sell more. You can see more patients. I mean, if you haven't been double booking clients, you can double book clients. I'm not saying all these options sound great, but they are options as a way you can increase your revenue, which will give you more profit. Another way you get more profit is by decreasing expenses, looking at what you can cut. How bare minimum can you go? Where are there inefficiencies in the business that you can solve? For example, a small mobile clinic is keeping their expenses low by not having a building, and this allows them to have more profit. But if they ever decide they're going to grow and actually have a physical location, they're not going to have as much profit because of expenses going up on a lease or buying a property. All of these decisions impact profit. Now, if you want profit, there are ways to get it, but you might be looking for something else in your business right now. You might just be trying to optimize for revenue, which in this case, it's a little bit different than profit. Revenue is looking at how much does the business make no matter what it spends. And so really, if you're trying to optimize for revenue, you'd be thinking about things like, what's my pricing? Can I raise prices? How's my marketing going? Is there a better way I can be marketing to get more people in? I'd be thinking about, how do I segment my population so I can sell to them more appropriately? Maybe I have this wonderful patient list, but these guys all have back pain and recurrent back pain. Maybe I could be marketing specifically to their back pain problems to get them more help that they need over time. And that way, I will increase my revenue on back pain patients. Another way you'd increase revenue is adding additional services. But remember, all these things cost. If you want to go start up yoga classes, well, you're going to have to hire a yoga teacher. But maybe the whole point is to see how much revenue can we bring up in this business. Maybe we're not as concerned about the bottom line profit. We just want to pump the business with revenue and more people for the long run. So we've already gone through profit and revenue. Another thing you could be actually optimizing for is stability, which basically means making no dumb or risky decisions, right? Maybe you've had a ton of staff turnover or a really weird period where people are just not coming in. Well, with the staff turnover, you may just decide, you know what, this next quarter, if I can just keep all my staff and get them in a place where they're highly functioning and doing well and enjoying their job, that would be a huge win for the business because once again, not only is that costly in money to have staff turnover, but also costly in time. Maybe if you got from eval, you were only getting 50% of people at an eval to actually convert to a full plan of care, and you focused on that for entire quarter and got that up to 70%. Wow, think about the impact that would have on your business, all by focusing on stabilizing one key problem that was there in the business. Now, another thing you could be optimizing for is scale. Maybe you've always dreamed of having multiple clinics. Maybe eventually you want to sell all these clinics to someone else. Well, if you're trying to grow and scale, you're going to make much different decisions than that mobile practice who's trying to decrease expenses so they keep their profit margin high. You are going to be looking at how quickly can I build processes? How quickly can I get things moving on new clinics? How do I keep all of that going? And you're probably not as much worried about your revenue or profit margin. In other words, you're trying to get successful clinics that are filled completely and multiply those like bunnies and then dangle that carrot in front of another big business that wants to come eat them up. This takes bigger, bolder moves. This takes riskier moves. This takes quicker moves, but it all comes with the desire to scale your business. So we've gone through profit, revenue, stability, and scale. Now, the fifth one is actually removing the business owner from the daily business. In other words, you don't want to be the one making the phone calls back to leads who call in, people who haven't booked, or people who cancel and need to be rescheduled. You don't want to be the one doing treatment. You just want to be sitting back, looking at the business on a whole and making decisions like a CEO. Well, that's an amazing goal and it's totally achievable, especially when you have great help and mentorship. But what you've got to realize is you'll make some sacrifices along the way. In other words, you probably won't be able to pay yourself as much as if you stayed in the treatment room and didn't have to hire a therapist. But you know what? If your goal is to get out of the treatment room, that's okay. One of my good friends and clients actually just hired a wonderful general manager to run his practice, and he's now moving over an hour away. He's only able to do that because of that hire. Otherwise, he'd still have to be in there playing general manager. Now, of course, would he probably take home $50,000 to $60,000 more if he didn't hire that general manager? Absolutely, but that would defeat the lifestyle and the purpose he's looking for in being able to move his kids to a better town with better school districts in a place they would love to live. The key thing with all of this is as tempting as it is to focus on them all, you can only focus on one. Now, that doesn't mean only one is going to happen at a time, right? Like if you're maximizing for profit, your revenue is probably still going to be okay. You never know. There could be some weird exceptions, but same thing. If you're looking for stability, hey, maybe your revenue isn't quite as high, but it could still be good. It's just that you're not focusing on adding new services at this time, this quarter, and that's okay. Doesn't mean you can't have several of them at the same time, but it's impossible to focus on one at the same time and get that problem solved. That's the cool thing I love to watch is when I go through this exercise every quarter and look back at what I said I was optimizing for and what I've accomplished, and now what I'm able to try to switch and optimize for in the future, it's mind-blowing. It's encouraging. It shows you how growing your business, it doesn't always solve every problem so that you sit back and relax and sip margaritas on a beach. No, the indication of a growing business is that you have another problem to solve, another obstacle to overcome, another thing that you can do to make your business even better. So for private practice owners out there, this is a great challenge that I encourage you to really think about. What are you optimizing for right now? Is it profit? Is it revenue? Is it stability? Is it scale? Or are you trying to get out of the business? And look at your calendar. Are the activities you're doing right now, do they really jive up with what you're saying you want? A lot of times I find the answer is no. And that's why it's crucial to know what you want to optimize for and then make sure your priorities and what you are focusing on during the day actually aligns with that mission. You've got to know, look at your business critically. What do you want to have? Where do you want to go? What's the problem you have right now? If you answer those questions, you will have a clear path into seeing what you're optimizing for right now, and then what the opportunities will be to optimize for other things in the future. Part of being able to focus on all of these details is for a business owner to have time to actually think about them. And speaking from experience, being a mom, an entrepreneur, having 2 young kids, I know exactly how hard it is to have the time to think critically like this. So I encourage you, if you are struggling with too many things being on your plate, especially things like your website, like your SEO, like your marketing message, if these things aren't sorted and you're struggling and it's taking away time from you focusing on things like, what are you really optimizing for? Where do you want to take this business? What is my current problem? Then let's chat. We have free website calls available at freewebsitecall.com, and we'll get on the phone. We'll chat with you about where we're at, what we can offload from you in order to get you moving forward with your business. I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. Just remember, what are you optimizing for? Pick one and let's get your business moving forward.